Now here's the problem. These are fanatics. They believe through their faith in a fundamentalist approach to religion. What they're doing, they believe, is with God's hand, where they have suicide bombers, where they do all these things, because there's the next life. The more infidels I slaughter, the greater the reward. The more Jews and Christians and Buddhists and Hindus, the more of the West we destroy, the better. The more of the East we destroy, the better. The more Muslims we destroy who are not true believers, the better. And so you see them slaughtering their own people in Iran and elsewhere. This is why I call it's a death cult. Put a smile on your face. We just whipped the crap out of an enemy with our friends, the Israelis. And I want to thank you, you're patriotic Americans, because there are some bizarre things going on with sort of the fringe Kabbalists. I don't know what they're thinking. It doesn't really matter to me. They were telling us that we should leave Iran alone. They'll leave us alone. For 47 years, they've been killing American soldiers and American citizens directly and through their proxies. They're developing ever more sophisticated equipment and missile systems to reach our continent, to reach the United States. As you can see now, and I'm right when I said it, they were there preparing for a breakout on their nuclear warheads. And so nuclear warheads, intercontinental ballistic missiles, they have all of these other ballistic missiles. They have the support of the communist Chinese giving them technology, the fascistic Russians giving them technology, the North Koreans giving them technology. We spoke about the North Korean breakout. 1996, Clinton had a shot at taking out their nuclear facility. They had one. He wouldn't do it. 10 years later, they broke out with a nuclear weapon. That would be 2006. And today, 19 years later, they have 50 nuclear warheads. 50. And they're building up to a capacity of 90 in the next 24 months. Because once you build one, it's almost assembly line. It's not simple, but you've got the technology, the know-how, you've got the experts, and you build them. So they're going to have 90 nuclear missiles in 24 months. North Korea. Think about that. So I saw this, I know this, and of course our experience with the Iranians, you don't need to have it explained to me, from them taking hostages in our embassy and every step since then, with Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis, sleeper cells trying to assassinate our president, and it goes on and on and on. It gets worse, it doesn't get better. As the technology advances, as their geographic positions advance. And honest to God, folks, if it wasn't for Israel and Netanyahu blowing out Hezbollah, blowing out Hamas, I mean, they're dealing with what's left of it, taking out the Iranian surface-to-air missiles that were built, very sophisticated missile systems built by the Russians, taken out by the Israelis, the complete destruction of what was left of their Air Force and their Navy, we wouldn't have been able to send those bombers the way we did. They took out as many radar sites as they could, the Israelis did. When you heard the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff raising Cain, this guy's he's not only tough, he speaks very quietly, and he's quite brilliant. He said the Israelis built the lane for us to use. That said, they don't have the firepower that we have, and these pilots don't know how to use it and so forth. And so they needed us to use our B-2 bombers and these so-called MOB bombs to take out these nuclear sites. They don't have anything close to it because they're a tiny country they certainly don't have the industrial might that we have. They have the technological know-how, but not the industrial might. And you saw what they did. They blew out the entire leadership of the Iranian military. They blew out the entire leadership of the Iranian intelligence services. They took out the top 9 nuclear scientists. They effectively defeated the Iranian military in 48 hours. But they kept raining these ballistic missiles onto their population centers. And they have these mobile launchers. And it's hard to find them all the time. Once they launch, you can find them and take them out. But it's like going after, you get tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, a country of 100 million people, of vehicles, trucks, and they're moving everywhere, and they're in the forests and this side and the other. And even though you own the skies, it's a big country, Iran. You can't cover everything. Once they fire it, they see the heat trail, and they're able to take it out. but they've done a lot of damage to civilian areas and to civilian areas, although, honestly, the prediction was, I think from our government and others, that 500 to 1,000 Israelis would die. I think the number's less than 30, which is bad enough. But it is quite remarkable what's been achieved by the two militaries and the two great leaders. Donald Trump is more than a once-in-a-lifetime historic and iconic leader. He just is. And Benjamin Netanyahu, the same thing. I mean, that country's surrounded. They came under attack. Look how they fought back after October 7th. Look what they've done. They still need their hostages back. They still want them back. But these dead-enders, these terrorists are horrendous. And so the president institutes a ceasefire, and the Iranians violate it immediately. They fire 2 ballistic missiles into Israel. Israel gets ready to pound the crap out of them. The president gets very angry. He sees the ceasefire, he believes, unraveling. And you know, it's always easier for democracy to talk to democracy. You can put pressure on a democracy. But when you're dealing with these monstrous genocidal maniacs, notice they still haven't surrendered. Have you noticed that? They still haven't surrendered. They still didn't sign conditions that they won't use nukes. And even if they signed it, they don't mean it. We know that because one of their senior officials, in fact, their remaining top nuclear official, announced on a video, we are going to reconstitute our nuclear system. They're going to reconstitute it. Now, here's the problem. Here's my little issue. These are fanatics. Fanatics. They believe through their faith in a fundamentalist approach to religion. What they're doing, they believe, is with God's hand. It is a religious, ideological mindset, a complete 100% commitment, where they have suicide bombers, where they do all these things. It is not the West. It is not a Marxist regime or even a fascist regime where you think through, wait a minute, if they blow us off the face, I mean, if we try to blow them off the face of the earth, they'll blow us off the face of the earth. They'll say, okay, because there's the next life, and God will reward me. The more infidels I slaughter, the greater the reward. The more Jews and Christians and Buddhists and Hindus, the more of the West we destroy, the better. The more of the East we destroy, the better. The more Muslims we destroy who are not true believers, the better. And so you see them slaughtering their own people in Iran and elsewhere. And so this is why I call it's a death cult.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.